Welcome to the Diabetes Revolution podcast with Dr. Sarah Townley, the type 2 diabetes coach, clinical pharmacist, and mom of 7 angels. You don't have to struggle and fight with your blood sugars for the rest of your life. I'm here to teach you the skills you need to control and even reverse this disease. There is such a thing as getting off your meds and creating a future free from diabetes, and you can have it too. Let's get down to business. Hey, did you guys miss me last week? I was totally on vacation last week, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. I kind of just want to have a second to hang out with you for a moment and just talk about some stuff that happened last week. It was super fun. I decided to take my 2 oldest, 14-year-old Weston and 12-year-old Nora, to Florida for a fun trip, and I had my mom meet me down there. She's from Kentucky, and I took my baby, and we just played in the sun and surf for about 5 days. And some funny stuff happened that I have to tell you guys about. So my mom's Korean. I don't know if you know that, but she is full on Korean, as in she hasn't really assimilated to the United States in her 20 plus years of living here. I don't know, 30 plus years of living here. And she does really funny stuff, you guys. So she went over to this pier in the water. It was off Honeymoon Island off Clearwater. And she found these sunken concrete pilings, and they had all these oysters encrusted on them. And so she just started bashing oysters open and eating them. And my son wandered over there, and he totally ate one too, you guys. I was not going to eat that. And my husband was actually pretty concerned because there's red tide, I guess, in the water out there, but everybody seems to be okay and still disease-free. So I just thought that was crazy that they were opening oysters and slurping the insides down. And my mom was so happy with herself because these are apparently very valuable if you buy them raw in a restaurant. So that kind of stuff really gets her excited. And we also went to an amusement park, and this was my kids' first time. We went to Busch Gardens, and they'd never ridden a roller coaster before. And it was so fun to get to watch their completely different reactions to riding roller coasters. And I don't get scared. I have an unhealthy absence of fear, actually. So I was able to ride them no problem, but it was fun because I was wearing my Libre, my blood sugar monitor. And I got to see how my body reacts to that kind of stress real time. That was really cool. And I noticed that my blood sugar never went below 100 all day. And I attribute that to multiple roller coaster riding. But it was really fun to actually bring my baby and have my mom there because she's been such a big part of his life, his short life. He's only about 4 months old now. And I honestly believe that he's her baby. I know that I gave birth to him, but I still think he's her baby because she just takes him and she slept with him every night. She just loves to have him in her bed, which sounds crazy to me. And she just was so attentive and so sweet with him. And she kept saying over and over that he makes her so happy that whenever she looks at him, she just is filled with so much happiness. And that just makes my heart sing. So that's my week last week, and I have a really fun topic for you today, but before I get into it, I have to tell you guys about some of my clients because I really feel that part of the purpose of this podcast is to show you what is possible. I had 3 different clients hire me about 2 months ago, and I want to just touch on where they're at right now. So all of them are in week 9 or 10, probably about week 9. The first one, I met with her yesterday, and it was such a party session because her results are just amazing. She has normal blood sugars right now. She's not on any medication. And in fact, she got rid of her blood pressure pills already. And her blood sugars are normal, and she's finding it really weird. She was telling me that she was having thoughts doubtful thoughts this is too good to be true. Something is going to give. This can't be something I created. It just must be a fluke, that kind of stuff. And I realized that our work going forward for the next couple weeks is going to be learning how to make this her new normal instead of having so much doubt. But I wanted to just tell you about her because it is weird when your blood sugars are normal. and you've been struggling with this for 10 plus years. Like, I feel like she's had diabetes for like 20 something years. Anyways, so for her to have normal blood sugars is very weird, and it isn't going to feel normal, and the brain is going to have a hard time accepting, let alone celebrating that, until it gets used to it and stops having so much resistance to accepting them as normal for her. She's lost 12 pounds. She feels amazing. And the best part, you guys, is that it feels easy to her. She feels like this is too easy because she struggled with it for so long. But I just want to remind you, the reason why you haven't figured this out yet is simply because you haven't had somebody show you how to do it and then support you. We all need support in accomplishing these massive transformations. It's very rare for people to be able to just go do it by themselves. And I'm included in that. I have been a consumer of coaching as long as I've been a coach and longer. And so these kinds of results are rapid and they are amazing results. The other client I want to tell you about is, I don't want to say he's probably like 40, like late 40s. And he's, again, on week 9. He's lost 23 pounds. His neuropathy that drove him to reach out to me has disappeared. He doesn't have it anymore. He feels amazing. He sleeps better. That's another really fun thing to watch people have, is all of these cool bonuses of healing your body. Things that you didn't anticipate would get better or were related to your diabetes. When you heal, the root cause just simply disappear. It's the most miraculous thing to watch. And this client, his blood sugars look awesome. He's totally reversing his diabetes. We're at week 9. And then I met with another client this morning that had started 9 weeks ago. And the thing that I wanted to celebrate with her this morning was her experience of freedom around food. I think most of us have learned how to fixate on food through culture, through how we were raised, through just us using food as a main source of pleasure in our life. And we can't even imagine, and this client for sure was in so much drama about food when we started. Like, we jumped right into all of that drama before learning any of the strategy because it was so paralyzing for her. And now she has this, it's just food sort of attitude. And she can't even believe that that is how it is for her, because for so much of her life, food was a main source of pleasure. It was a fixation and even an obsession at times. And this was the thing that she knew had stopped her from being able to reverse her diabetes. And today we're talking, her blood sugars are normal. We're talking about getting her off of her Trulicity. And the thing that really struck me was this massive change in her relationship with food in such a short time. And I tell you about those 3 different people just to show you, like, everybody's journey is different. Yeah, we're all here to reverse our diabetes and heal our bodies. But how we get there and the tools that we need, the skills that we need, are going to be different from person to person. And I want to invite you to consider that if you haven't created this yet, and this is something that you desire, that having a coach could be the thing that you've been missing. If that sounds like you, I want you to stop everything right now and get on my website and reach out to me, sarahtownley.com, because you could be this person in 2 months from now. Like, none of these people could fathom the kind of results that they're enjoying in such a short time. Like, that second client, or the first client that I told you about, like, she literally told me I am saving her life, that I saved her life. No, she's doing it. She's creating the result. But she was in such a desperate place 2 months ago, she could not even imagine where she's at right now, which is, oh, my biggest problem is I can't accept these normal blood sugars. Like, that's an awesome problem to solve, right? Okay, so now that I've had a chance to maybe inspire you and show you what's possible, I want to give you an awesome podcast topic today around body conscious thoughts, around the season that we're approaching, or maybe you're in the middle of, because I live in Montana, so it's kind of cold here, where we take our clothes off in public and we don't cover up near as much because it's too freaking hot. And also we have some, activities that we're going to be doing where we wear bathing suits or whatever. Maybe you have some kind of an event coming up, like a wedding, where you really do want to look your best. And this is the season for that. And so this topic is going to be timely. And I truly believe that the universe or God conspired to bring certain things into my awareness in this moment so that I could talk about this topic, because so many of you out there need that. So let me tell you a little story. Maybe you've had the thought in your life, oh, shoot, I have a vacation coming up. I have a wedding. I have some kind of event coming into my future, and I need to lose some weight fast. I need to lose 10 pounds before I go to Mexico, or before I go to that family reunion, or in my past, it was before I get pregnant again. LOL. You could literally insert any kind of an event in here. It doesn't matter. But I think we can all relate to this moment where we feel confronted by the possibility of being seen, and that being an unbearable experience for us. We have this realization that produces like panic and frantic energy. And when we're experiencing that, we generally take disorganized, extreme action, like going on a super restrictive diet, or we might take no action, literally paralyzed because of our fear and overwhelm and our indecision. And just lately, I've had some things come up for me that brought this problem into my awareness. So it started with my own postpartum weight loss journey. I have a group of lady friends who all gather on Marco Polo. This is an app where you can record videos like text messages and send them back and forth. And we have this group to support each other with our health goals. And we created this space to coach, to commiserate, to create like an accountability system, and to remind each other how awesome that we are when we need to hear it. One of these girls, one of my dear, dear friends, she has a trip scheduled for Mexico coming up. And when she remembers this, she suddenly feels urgency and pressure to lose a bunch of weight because she's, quote, too fat. Okay. And in this process of trying to lose weight fast, she felt impatient and frustrated because the scale wasn't moving as fast as she wanted to see it. And there were times where she had a lot of doubt, and she had a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors. And she also ended up trying a medication that she thought would make it go faster, but actually had a whole lot of side effects that made her feel really, really bad. And it was a weight loss medication. And so I tell you that story just to illustrate like what I witnessed. And then shortly after, she went to Mexico and had a great time, which I think is really interesting. I had a client text me about her urgency around a trip that was coming up in June that involved wearing bathing suits in public. So I just went on this trip to Florida, much heavier than my usual, or not if you consider how many times I've been pregnant, haha. But my usual, I consider like my baseline weight that I always want to get back down to before I have another baby. And I totally rocked bikinis the whole time. And it dawned on me that I didn't fall into this trap about hurrying up and putting a ton of pressure on myself to lose a certain amount of weight. And I wondered why I didn't do that. So I thought I would share my reflections and lessons with you around this topic because it's so common and it's so counterproductive. And 'tis the season, right? And this is not just for ladies. There's dudes out there too who also have some body conscious thoughts around being seen in a bathing suit, or maybe they also have an event that they want to look their best for. And so this is for everybody. Okay, so let's just set the stage. We have something coming up that sets off all kinds of body conscious thoughts that cause panic or fear and shame. We have this, what are people going to think, thought come up. This is where we get caught in all the thoughts. We think other people are thinking about us and our body. And I'm going to tell you right now, we make it all up and it almost always sounds awful. Thoughts like, I've really let myself go. What if I'm the fattest person there? They're going to see all my imperfections and I'm going to feel so embarrassed. My belly is huge. Oh, I'm so disgusting. In the end, we know we will feel ashamed of ourselves, and this is such a painful human experience. I read a book by Brené Brown where she actually summarized research by psychologists about the most painful human experience that is possible. And what was reported was shame mixed with isolation. This is the most painful human experience we can have. We will do just about anything to avoid feeling shame. So in this moment, when we think these thoughts, we are overcome with shame. And what we don't realize is that we are creating our own shame with our thoughts. The shame is not coming from anyone else. I mean, unless they say mean things to you and you believe them. But that's generally not what's going on. Rather, what's going on is we're making up our own thoughts about ourselves. I want you to really see that. The shame and fear and panic is actually coming from what you think other people will think when they see your body. We're making it up and we're believing other people are thinking them about us. And it's usually not true. Maybe no one is thinking thoughts about your body. Maybe they're all self-conscious about their own bodies and not concerned with yours at all. But in the end, your thoughts are your own made-up thoughts. So you can actually just make up better thoughts. If we can make it up, why not make it good? So let me give you an example. I went into a store that was at the bottom of a parking garage. It was like the first floor of the parking garage, and it was right by the beach, okay? And I went in with my daughter in my bathing suit because I was just going to zoom right through that store and go up to the car to grab something. But immediately, I saw so many things I wanted to buy. And my daughter did too. So what turned into walking through the store was like an hour of shopping for souvenirs. And it was super fun. This store is called Surf Style. They have so much fun retail merchandise. They have an indoor surfing thing. And we had a really great time finding t-shirts, and I found some sandals. Anyways, I was in my bathing suit unexpectedly for an hour shopping, standing in line. And I was also, of course, out walking around the store and on the beach with no clothes on, just my bikini on. And my brain wanted to offer me body conscious thoughts pretty much the whole time, right? Like, oh, your butt is so lumpy. Or this bathing suit is too tight. Or my thighs are ugly. Or I look really old. Okay? My brain is just offering me these shitty thoughts about my body as I walk around in a bathing suit. Who can relate? So instead, I chose to think on purpose. I thought something like, nobody's looking at your butt. Or, hey, I look amazing for just having had a baby. And by the way, I've had 7 babies in the last 14 years. Or, hey, I'm proud of what I've been able to create so far. I'm not done yet. Those might not be thoughts that you could choose or think for yourself that would work, but you do have thoughts that would work if you just took a moment to identify them. And they might just be like accepting thoughts of your body, like, it is what it is. Or I don't need to be perfect to enjoy my vacation. Okay, so there are different thoughts and I can't tell you which ones to think. I just have to invite you to find the ones that feel true to you that would be a step up or feel better than those other thoughts that your brain wants to think about your body and that cause shame. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want to show you. You can notice when your brain says mean things to you, and you can direct it to better feeling thoughts. Now, let's go to that desperation in the moment when we know how much shame we're going to feel about our bodies. Okay, we can feel desperate to escape from that experience that we think is going to be so embarrassing. We seem to think the solution is to lose some weight. We think we will not feel the shame if we would lose weight. Okay, so that's the construction behind all of this panic that drives all that ineffective action and the extreme dieting and all of that. We believe that by seeing a lower number on the scale, that we will escape the shame and embarrassment that we are actually creating ourselves. Do you see how this would never work? Because we generally think 10 pounds or 20 pounds lighter will create comfort or confidence for us at that event that's coming up. And we unconsciously believe that if the scale reads, let's say 158 pounds instead of 163 pounds, that we will feel good as a consequence. But is it ever true? If we aren't intentionally choosing how we want to think about ourselves, good luck hoping your default thoughts will be kind or flattering. We are unconsciously thinking critical thoughts about ourselves all the waking hours of the day, and suddenly that will magically disappear and be replaced with loving and admiring thoughts? Ain't happening. What would happen if we were able to create that rapid, dramatic weight loss is we will still be thinking critical thoughts and feeling shame. That's what happens unconsciously, unless we consciously create feeling good. So knowing that, how can you avoid falling into this trap? And by the way, I am not saying that you shouldn't use events to motivate or inspire action that serves you. But I want to teach you the difference between doing that and the typical scenario where we feel panic and overwhelm and take drastic, ineffective action that doesn't serve us in creating a better state of health sustainably. So let's go back to my Florida trip and see how I handled my weight loss efforts leading up to it. And I'm not telling you this to brag on myself. Like, I'm showing you how to do this because I want you to succeed. So I set a goal to hit 170 pounds by the time I left. This kept me more focused and more intentional. But I ran into an issue with my cycle that let me know I needed a break from the longer fasts. So I ended up leaving for my trip at 172 pounds instead. Does that mean I don't get to feel comfortable in my body on my trip because the scale said 172 instead of 170? No, that's silly. That doesn't even make sense. Instead, I just used the trip to my advantage because it allowed me to set a goal that then allowed me to stay focused, create strategies, and execute them. And then I just focused on enjoying my results that I was able to create. I never got stuck in frustration, impatience, or doubt, which then would lead to inconsistent action, questioning my strategy, or searching for something new or different than what I know works for me, right? I didn't get distracted by all of those quick fix gimmicks that people want to sell you in your desperation. I just stayed focused. In this way, setting a goal, which, a good goal is something that will stretch you a little bit, feels a little challenging, but you believe you could accomplish. Setting a goal will give you access to creative solutions that you may not have otherwise considered, inspiration and renewed commitment, motivation and focus to be super intentional and plan and follow, and that allows consistent action. And it gives you the ability to set accountability and then track results. And that, you guys, is a beautiful thing because when you are tracking and accounting, you have the opportunity to reflect on your progress and you start getting some insights into what does and does not work for you. The way that I used my goal doesn't lead to the pressure and impatience that it's not working and that you need to try something different. The fear of failure, which then causes you to be pretty dramatic or extreme with the kinds of things that you are willing to do that are probably not sustainable. It doesn't lead to overwhelm, which then causes you to research all these different things and then stay in indecision about what you should try. So when you use a goal like this, you can take consistent, effective action that creates results, and then focus your mind on enjoying your success. You can be grateful for what you did accomplish, and this momentum then propels you forward. I returned from my trip at 170 pounds. Isn't that funny? So even though I didn't hit 170 before I left, just because I stayed focused while I was on my trip, and I had my plan, which I teach people how to go on vacation and not have it turn into a shit show, basically. And, I have done the work to free myself from using food as a main source of pleasure. Like, food is just food now to me, and it serves a purpose. It doesn't mean I don't enjoy my food. We still had amazing seafood, and we went out to a wonderful Korean restaurant, which was a great experience, but I just didn't fixate and obsess about the food and use food as my main source of pleasure. And that feels like freedom around food, okay? And when I got home, I was at 170 point something, and I was ready to turn it up, right? I was excited to get back in the saddle and make some more progress toward my ultimate goal, which is around 155 pounds. That's where I would like to be. That's my normal baseline. And what's funny is nobody, not my family, not the cashier at Surf Style, and not one of the multitude of people at the beach has an unfavorable recollection of what I look like in my bathing suit. And I got good at practicing appreciating my body as it is now. You get good at what you practice. So when you practice doing that, your critical thoughts aren't the only thing in your mind, right? You start getting aware of all the times that your brain is offering you unhelpful thoughts, and you don't attach to them, but rather you've practiced directing your mind to feel good thoughts. You create feeling bad, and you can create feeling good in your body. It just takes awareness and intentional thinking. So that's kind of a big topic, but I'm excited for you to practice this, for you to pay attention to where you're creating unnecessary panic or urgency around a weight loss goal because you think you will feel better later if you do that. It's never true. We get to create how we feel now. And taking action from a bunch of bad emotions typically is not going to yield favorable results that are sustainable. And so I encourage you just to pay attention anytime you're feeling those kinds of feelings, pressure, urgency, overwhelm, and to pay attention to the thoughts your brain is offering you and that you are believing because they're optional. And I actually have a therapist client who laughs at that. She's a therapist, okay? So she's a person who works in this realm of thoughts and emotions. And she and I joke all the time about optional thoughts. Because sometimes, our brain has all these optional thoughts that just feel so true and they make us feel so bad. But if you can keep them as optional, then you get to choose, right? It gives you choice. And that's what I want for you. I want you to have choice. I want you to feel inspired and empowered to create what you want on purpose and not be a victim, because you cannot accomplish anything from victimhood. Okay, that's my speech for today. And if it helped you, I would love to hear from you. Just head over to my website, sarahtownley.com, and let's connect. Okay, don't leave yet. You're going to want to hear about this. If you love my podcast, if I'm the only sane voice you've found on this subject, if I've already helped you, you need to check out my online course. It's a start to finish, step-by-step video course that teaches you all the tools you need to know to beat this disease. You can find it on my website, sarahtownley.com, along with lots of other free tools that will make taking care of your diabetes so much easier. So get over there right now. See you there.